Next up on the Daily, LA begins their title defense, NBC begins a new chapter in MLS on TV, and Chivas USA looks to prove doubters wrong. Welcome to the Daily for Friday, March 9th with Andrew Wiebe. I'm Jason Seguini. Yesterday we looked at 2 of the games from this weekend. Today we're going to look at the other 5 going on, and we're going to start in Washington, D.C., where D.C. United will host Kansas City, and Sporting Kansas City, after going out last year when they were probably the favorite in the Eastern Conference Championship, has to be disappointed. Looking forward to getting this season underway.
Yeah, but they'll be the favorite in the Eastern Conference once again. Many pundits talking about them being the team to beat, but I think this is going to be a difficult game for Kansas City. Graham Zusi had some quad issues that they've held him out of practice this week. We'll see if he plays on Saturday. That'll be a huge issue for them. And on the other side, DC's got that quartet of attackers that kind of have to mesh going into this season. Hamdi Salihi, Dwayne Di Rosario, Chris Pontius, and Andy Nahara. So it'll be interesting to see how both of those attacking groups kind of face up head-to-head.
All right, that game's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Direct Kick package or MLS Live. Moving on a little later at night, San Jose taking on New England. New England having to travel all the way to the West Coast for the first game of their season. This game's on at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, again on the Direct Kick package and MLS Live.
Yeah, New England got an early start on this one, heading down on Wednesday. Like Kansas City, like DC, it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams' new additions and how the options up front stack up and how they mesh together. Obviously, Steven Linhart back for San Jose, and on New England's side, be very interesting to see how Kellen Rowe adapts to regular season play. He's obviously been very good in the preseason, but different beast coming up this weekend.
A lot of people very excited to see Kellen Rowe begin his pro career, and it starts on Saturday night. The biggest game of the night on Saturday, probably the LA Galaxy hosting Real Salt Lake. This is a rematch of last year's Western Conference Final. The title defense for the Galaxy begins at home.
Yeah, and 2 teams that many expect to compete for that Western Conference crown again this year. But the interesting thing about this game is we're not quite sure what type of teams we'll see on the field come Saturday night. LA obviously has a huge CONCACAF Champions League tie coming up that next Wednesday, the only team that didn't have this weekend off. And on Real Salt Lake's side, a lot of injury issues for them. Nat Borcher is certainly out, and then Javier Morales a question mark. So it'll be interesting to see if we see the same teams on Saturday as the ones that will compete throughout the regular season.
Again, that game 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, also on the Direct Kick package and MLS Live. Remember, if you haven't ordered it yet, you can go to live.mlssoccer.com to order MLS Live. $59.99 gets you over 230 games, including those games that we mentioned on Saturday night. Moving on to Sunday, 2 big games, both nationally televised. It starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time as NBC Sports Network gets going with their MLS season. Dallas hosting New York Red Bulls, and this is a big game for New York, coming off a season that definitely disappointed.
Yeah, a rematch actually of last year's postseason matchup, that wild card round that New York won 2-0, but no Luke Rogers for New York. That's still in limbo. He had a positive meeting, according to the team yesterday, with NBC officials in London. But the big storyline here, who's going to line up next to Thierry Henry? Probably going to be Kenny Cooper. We'll see how that one comes together. And on the other side of the ball, FC Dallas has had a quiet offseason, but they've added some good pieces. Blas Perez being another one. You got 2 hulking strikers in Kenny Cooper and Blas Perez. Whoever plays better is likely to lead their team to victory.
All right, a lot of people down on Chivas USA this season, saying they're going to struggle in a tough Western Conference, but they open their season at home against the Houston Dynamo, MLS Cup finalists. They have a chance to make a statement here in their first game. This game's 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Galavision.
Yeah, home opener for them last year didn't go as planned either. Sporting Kansas City came in and won that one 3-2 behind Omar Bravo, but they're going to have a hard time breaking down Houston. Houston has shown throughout the back end of last season and then this preseason that defense is rock solid. It'll be about where the goals come. If Houston can score, I think they win this game. If they can't, probably a draw.
All right, we'll have more on the ESPN2 game. That game is Monday night on Monday's Daily. Before we go, I want to mention a few things that you should definitely check out on the site, starting with Extra Time Radio. Andrew joined Simon and myself on yesterday's show. We also had Arlo White on and Giuseppe Rossi, someone that I think a lot of American soccer fans want to hear from. Also, don't forget to check out the Road Trip to First Kick presented by Adidas and Dick's Sporting Goods. Plenty of good videos coming in from the road trip.
Yeah, as well as the season preview series ends today with part 5, predictions from the guys out in Los Angeles. You were there. We'll see what you said about that one. And as well as the final piece of the Colombian features that we've had here on the site today, Nick Fershaw's piece on how they meshed with, say, decision makers in MLS and why they decided to bring in so much Colombian talent this offseason.
One final note, if you haven't already joined our Extra Time Radio Fantasy League, you can join it. The code is 135322. Go to MLSsoccer.com/fantasy. You can play against us in the Fantasy League. That's all we have for the daily this week. Enjoy the weekend of action. Finally, the MLS season has begun, and we'll see you back on Monday.